Take it away.
Okay, appreciate it. We're excited to head out on the first road game this week. Got a huge challenge in Georgia Tech. This is a big game for both teams. Obviously, we're getting into conference play and our first road test. So excited about the opportunity. Brent's done an amazing job down there. This is a tough, physical, well-coached football team. And they're battle tested, especially on offense with that quarterback. I mean, this guy's a warrior. I have a ton of respect for him as a player. They got really good skill around him. They're tough and physical up front. They all really understand their scheme, and they take a lot of pride in the execution of it. So, put a lot of strain on you defensively. I mean, it's there's multiple options on every snap, and but. They're going to put it in their best players' hands. They got between their quarterback and 0 and 1. Those guys really strain you. They're going to touch the ball early, often, in a lot of different ways, whether it's from the backfield, jet sweeps, and then they've done a nice job with some guys on the perimeter that they brought in there that have the ability to make some big plays too. So. Some of those guys didn't play a lot last week with the nature of the game. They blocked a couple of kicks, so they do a good job. Creating some opportunity there. We'll have to do a really great job with our protection, and then defensively, they're not giving up a ton of big plays. I mean, they do a nice job of, just executing their defense, being where they're supposed to be. They're active up front. They're thick and stout up front. Again, the game kind of got away last week, but a good opener versus Colorado to kind of get a feel for their personnel over there. So a big challenge for us. This is also a rivalry game. Clemson-Georgia Tech's one of the older ones. They've been going on for a long time. Always fun to be a part of this game. Been a lot of great ones over the years, and we're thankful for this opportunity. But look forward to going down there and having a great competition. Any questions?
Yeah, well, the physical battle is always important, like on the lines of scrimmage, defensive line, but given what you were talking about with how much they play with your eyes, is the mental maybe as important, if not more, keeping their eyes in the right places?
Yeah, the eye discipline is, this is critical. It's always critical. Regardless of style of play, because everybody presents their own challenges from an eye discipline standpoint. But these guys, pretty much every snap, there's a shift, there's a motion, there's some type of jet. And then by nature of just their scheme, it's quarterback power, quarterback counter with RPOs built into it with what we call slash, guys coming down the line of scrimmage, where they just don't block people. They just control them based on reaction. Keep it, pull it, and if I do pull it, well, there's not necessarily a pitch player, but there's an outlet pass. So it's basically a triple option scheme, from spread formations, and just different ways to get to it. Again, and then they'll run around and turn around and bam, they're hitting you right up the middle with some type of downhill play, but. It's all about the quarterback. He makes it go. Because he's the decision maker. So it's hard to make him wrong as far as because he's equipped to make them right. So you have to win matchups. You got to win matchups. You got to tackle in space. So eye discipline is critical. Certainly the physical matchup is critical. But you also got to do a great job in space because the ball gets in the space just by nature of everybody doing their job, and so you got to have some hard edges. They're going to challenge you on the perimeter, and so that's what they do best. They make you defend the field sideline to sideline, and then they got the shots built into it in the play action.
Does it concern you also that especially like if you look back at the Miami game last year against them, they used 2 quarterbacks, and then last week obviously showed a different quarterback. Does that you got to prepare for both guys?
Yeah, the backup. He threw for a ton of yards. He's a good player. You know, they can both run the offense. So yeah, you got to be prepared for that. Those are things that you always. Anytime you see something on tape like that, 2 quarterbacks in the game, that puts puts your antenna up a little bit. So yeah, we just got to do a great job again, just taking care of our business. Making sure that we communicate well, eyes are in the right place, and that physically everybody does their job. That's what it comes down to.
Dabo, going back and watching the tape from the past couple of weeks, what have you seen has been, I guess, the biggest reason for some of the offensive struggles with Cade and the rest of the offense?
Routine stuff. Just really poor job with routine stuff. It's really that simple.
How do you make sure that routine stuff is fixed for this game?
Yeah, practice. And again, that's the frustrating part is it hasn't shown up in practice. And then you get into that first game, and again, there was a lot there in the first game. In a game like that, it's you're going to get 4 or 5 plays, and we didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And so it's going to come down to a play or two, and we just didn't perform like we needed to. But this past week, just some precision in what we're doing, and again, just defensively, after 2 games, they've done a good job. Not that they're perfect, but they've given up 3 touchdowns in 2 games. So I can live with that. The 4th touchdown was on the offense on a pick 6. So we got to just clean up the execution part from an offensive standpoint. That's just not played with great rhythm, and guys got to make the plays that are there. That's where it starts. Whether it's the quarterback or it's catching the ball, just getting there. We got too many 9 out of 11 guys doing their job, and you're not going to be a great offense when that's the case. So played 2 games, got 2 different experiences and 2 opportunities to learn and teach and grow, and our job to go get better.
Obviously, you talked about Georgia Tech has a very defined identity offensively. What have you seen in practice? What's the identity of Clemson when you guys are actually taking that to the game field, do you think?
Well, right now, it's not very good. So it's early, though. We'll see. We've got a long way to go.
I guess what have you seen in terms of in practice?
Very productive. Elite quarterback play, explosive receivers, really good run game. It's been that way all the camp. And then we just didn't get off to the start that we want, but don't mean we can't have the ending we want.
Having some time to review the film, what stood out about Adam Randall against Troy?
Just his toughness, his will to win, his heart. He's physical, and but just that's his first game to really. We didn't even really hardly use him in the first game, but there's a lot of opportunity for him to grow, and I think the biggest thing is just his timing in some things, especially when it comes to your counter and your powers, and when you've got pullers, there's times where he's not where he's too fast. All of a sudden, it gets sped up, and that can happen. Especially, Spiller used to be that way. Spiller used to, heck, he was the puller because the puller was behind him, but he was so fast it didn't matter. But that ain't good football. Like, I need to be in the hip of my pullers, all right. And so there's timing, and again, that's just comes from playing a little bit, and because oftentimes you can get in a game and you get sped up a little bit, and so I think Adam, and he did some really good stuff, but I think just some precision a little bit more in his footwork and just the timing and the feel of where he needs to be on some of our landmarks, tracks, not cutting on air, pressing the blocks, just some basic stuff that he's done well in practice, but again, he's just got to stick to that when he gets into the game. So, and again, his first real opportunity in that regard. But he's a good football player. He's he's gonna keep going, and then hopefully we can get some rhythm going in our offense where we can get the flow a little bit better with some of our other guys as well.
Do you have more confidence in their in-game adjustments after Saturday?
Yeah, they did a nice job. It's really, again, it's not as much about the adjustments as it is that's just executing what we've coached them to do, and getting 11 guys to do their job. That's really what this comes down to. But it was a nice job. I think the biggest thing Saturday was just calming everybody down and just playing through the funk. and because that was a really weird. I mean, it was just a really weird deal. You felt like you're down 35-0, and because I mean, it's just you finally get a break, and it's a fumble, and you got field position. Next thing you know, it goes 50 yards that way, and I mean, you get a drop, the fumble, pick six. I mean, it's like what all could go wrong here? But hey, that's football, and to see them respond like that shows what they're made of. So great test for them early.
I know y'all have had limited snaps offensively, but has Cade been as much of a factor with his legs as maybe you envisioned in those two games?
No, he hasn't. I mean, he's been too much of a factor with his legs. In that he's scrambled when he doesn't need to scramble. That's where he's got to get better. And that's what he did early in his career. And he did as the game, especially as we got into rhythm. I mean, he was really good. But even the other day, there were a couple of plays where he's running out of the pocket for no reason, and he didn't do that all at camp. So that's just it was really bad in the LSU game. But he had just a couple of plays, and then again, once we kind of got in rhythm, I mean, he looked like Cade. So again, hopefully they'll pick up where they left off from a execution standpoint, and we'll have a chance to be a good offense.
What's the message headed into a game like this? And obviously you mentioned ACC opener, road opener. Tech has a huge home crowd there. Just the message to the guys about this type of game. First one they're going to play in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always a message when you're going on the road of preparing your guys that no different than at home, honestly, in that external things can't determine your performance. I mean, just if it does, then you're always going to be controlled by external things. And so when you're in the arena, you've got to really be disciplined, with how you think and what your focus is on. Because where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? And so if you're focused on all these things you don't control, they're cheering for you or they're screaming at you. Your energy goes that way, right? Like you just got to focus on what you're doing, one play at a time, and tune all that stuff out. Whether it's real noise or just noise that we live in society, it's all the same. So it's a great opportunity. That's just part of it. You're going to be a great team. You got to go win on the road. I mean, and so in this, and we all get 8 conference games, and every game is a playoff game. It's just how it is. I mean, that's how you got to look at it. Every game, every conference game is a playoff game, because everybody's got the same goals and aspirations. And when you lose one, you put yourself kind of a little wind at your face. You're not out, but you kind of wind at your face and you're a little uphill. Last year we lost one game, but as it turned out, if Miami had beat Syracuse, then they would have had the tiebreaker. Because now you got all these tiebreakers and who played who and all that stuff. So but Syracuse won the game, and so we had one loss, and SMU was undefeated. So that's who went to the league. So the best path is to go win all your conference games. That's your best path. And so every conference game is a playoff game, because every conference games has playoff implications, because every conference games impacts who's going to the championship of your league. So that's just the reality of it, and you just embrace it and let's go compete. Go get a result and go to the next one. Every game in college football to me is every week it's a season of its own. It's a season of its own, and then you learn from it, you study it, and then you put it away, and new season every week. And that just has to be your mentality. You can't let stuff carry over. I don't care what the circumstances are. And I've been on. We've had one undefeated team or two 14-0 teams. We've had a couple of those type of teams where, like, that just has to be your mentality. And I've also had a 4-4 team that, hey, none of that matters, that won out. So it's just, you just have to just fight every week to get better and compete, and who's in, who's out, as far as your players and your personnel, and put a good plan together and go try to win that season every week.
mental and emotional side after these first two games, whether it's in game or in the aftermath?
Great. I mean, I thought you saw a lot of that Saturday. I mean, these guys. I mean, that's a frustrating situation to be in. And again, they won't take away from Troy. This isn't some 1AA team now. It's a good football team. All right, a well coached team. They're tough. They got good players, and you're down 16-0. And like everything's gone against you, and your defense is sitting there going, "What the heck?" It can challenge you. But I think you saw the grit of our team, the heart of our team, the resilience of these guys, courage. Got to have some courage to fight back in those situations. And so I think you learned a lot about the mentality of our team. Same thing against LSU. Came down to the last play. Even though we again, you know what you're watching, we missed a lot of opportunities in that game, big opportunities that were there. And don't take anything away from them. But when you had to have it, we get a punt return and we go right down the field. And we're in position inside the 15 and we just don't make a play that's there. 2 plays. We'll make a 3rd down or 4th down play, and both of them are there. And so we didn't finish, but their toughness, their will to win is on full display in both of our games. So they got a great will to win, and when you got that, you get better.
Coach, that first